While House Democrats lost some races in Republican-leaning districts, one Republican was ousted by a challenger from the right. We've followed Republican Denver Riggleman of Virginia throughout his freshman term in Congress, and he joins us now. Congressman, thank you. I know the charge and the headlines in your race were that you weren't conservative enough. But I want to ask you, why do you think you lost? And what does it mean to be in the Republican Party right now?
I think one of the reasons I lost, Lisa, and by the way, thanks for having me. I think one of the reasons that I lost was really my independent-minded way of doing things. And, once I officiated that same-sex wedding back in the summer of 2019, and some of the things that I stood for as far as healthcare and rural broadband in a district bigger than New Jersey, I think some of those things actually sort of conspired against me, right? And also, I was new to politics, and I thought an independent-minded person is what people wanted, and I think that's why I won. But I think it's also why I lost.
What do you think it means to be a Republican? Are you still a Republican?
Very difficult right now. I feel like that I'm willingly tribeless, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with what I'm saying with some of the bizarre conspiracy theories I'm saying propagated by just certain people on the right. I really think the Republicans should stay out of people's pocketbooks, but I think they should stay out of people's bedrooms too. And I'm seeing a party that's just small enough to fit in the bedroom, and that's not really the way that I'm wired. And so it's an interesting thing. I thought I was a constitutional Republican in the mold of the Teddy Roosevelts and Abraham Lincolns. But as far as some of the specific portions of the Virginia Republican Party, I don't think I'm a great fit.
There's also the Trump Republican Party. You are one of the few House Republicans to have said openly that Joe Biden won the election. You're in the Freedom Caucus. You know the Republicans who are saying the election is rigged without giving any proof. I wonder, why do you think they're saying that? Are they talking themselves into believing it? Is this politics? Why is that?
I don't know what's in their heart, Lisa, but I tell you, my background as an intelligence officer, it is disinformation, it's radicalization, it's counterterrorism, and I'm not sure if they're afraid of voters, if they're worried about being tossed out of the tribe, if there's something in them that actually believes some of this. Because I will tell you, I've seen sort of odd things in my life. Some of these conspiracy theories that are coming out of the dark corners of the internet and now are getting life in the real world. I mean, what's next? Aliens are beaming information into voting machines. I mean, this is crazy. And I think we need to be very cognizant about information that can radicalize others that's really based on nothing but myth and conspiracy theories.
Charlottesville is in your district, a place that has dealt with rhetoric turning into violence, as we saw in 2017 when a protester was killed. And now we see Trump allies still saying things like this week that his opponents should be shot. How dangerous do you think that rhetoric is, or are we paying too much attention to these sort of lone extreme voices?
For me, I think you drag everything into the light and let the sunlight disinfect it. But I think what's also scary is you have two retired generals that are talking about, martial law. And I think it's very odd that that's not a bigger story, because what they're basing it on is ridiculous, whether it's NSA trying to, crack into computers, whether it's, Dominion having code that's been manipulated, whether it's the Army storming some barracks in Germany. All these things are just poppycock. And I think we got to be worried about the radicalization of those based on information that's just not true. This is dangerous, and this can convert into dangerous behavior. I've been warning about this for months, and I think we're seeing some of that, that bizarre manifestation of conspiracy theories that are being made real by people that don't have proper information. And I think this is a massive grift. I think when you talk about the Kraken, I think the only thing they're cracking into are people's pocketbooks on this grift.
I don't hear you mentioning President Trump and any responsibility he has for this.
Well, he does have responsibility. I think that's where I got in trouble. I think when you retweet something that says that Joe Biden killed SEAL Team 6, I think when you retweet something where it says that Osama bin Laden had a body double, and that's part of the QAnon conspiracy theory, that is absolutely something you shouldn't do. And it's not just irresponsible. There are people out there who believe this stuff. So I would say, stop this. Let's stop this now. Accept that you lost the election. We have a new vice president-elect and Joe Biden, and let's push forward. But this is ridiculous. And again, when you see the type of money that they're making off of this, it's just sad. They're really separating people from their money on things that are just simply not true.
What did you learn in your time in Congress about how Washington works or doesn't work?
That the tribe is more important than facts. And that's what I learned, and it was something that I had to try to maneuver through. And I knew what I had to do. I know it, and I just rejected it. And I think that's why I'm a bit proud of how I went out. But I think that we have to have facts and policy be more important than belonging to a specific party and put people over party rather than party over people.
And I'm curious, what adjectives would you use now to describe how you feel at this moment?
I think the adjectives that I would use now are, I would say, proud of what I've done, but also there's trepidation. And it's also now a determination, a willingness to try to change the way that we talk about each other and to stop the dehumanization that's going on in politics right now. I think it's not just the politics of personal destruction anymore. I think it's the politics of group destruction, and that happens through, propagating these conspiracy theories.
Denver Riggleman, outgoing congressman from Virginia's 5th District, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it.
And since he sat down with Lisa, Congressman Riggleman says he is receiving multiple violent threats, including death threats.